Hey.
There's been so much interest in the economic boom that's been happening in Jamaica, both on the investment side and also as a place to move to. Let me tell you about a conference that might help you with this stuff. ThropX is a 5-day Jamaica investment conference that takes place from November 13th to November 17th at the beautiful Travelers Beach Resort in Negril, Jamaica. This includes 2 full days of expert panel presentations on all aspects of moving to and investing in Jamaica. This includes the brightest minds in the Jamaican real estate market, certified financial advisors from the most prestigious financial groups in Jamaica, banking professionals from the most esteemed banking institutions in Jamaica, among others. If you are thinking about moving to Jamaica, this conference is the perfect opportunity to have direct access to not only individuals who have achieved your dream of moving to Jamaica, but you'll also be among like-minded conference goers who are also trying to move to Jamaica. In addition, there will be 1 full day dedicated to touring both residential and commercial real estate for sale in the greater Negril area to give you a tangible idea of the real estate landscape in Jamaica. There will be exclusive properties for sale on this tour that you will not find listed anywhere else. If you are even remotely considering moving to or investing in Jamaica, this is the conference for you. This is the best way to dip your toe in the water of figuring out whether Jamaica is the right place for you to invest and to live. For more information, please visit thropx.com and join our mailing list. I look forward to seeing you in November. Mic check. There we go. Have the wrong cord plugged in. This is what happens when you don't do sound check before going live. What is going on? Good to see everybody. Thanks for joining us here today. Another Thursday live stream. Got a few things that I want to touch on here. As you can see by the thumbnail and the title, we are going to be talking about retiring in Jamaica versus Canada. And it's really good, has been inspired by a video that I will share with you all, and we can watch it together. It was a TikTok reel kind of thing. And it actually has nothing to do with, it doesn't directly have to do with Jamaica, I should say, but another, I would think, another Caribbean island, I believe. So I thought it was something that's very fitting to our discussion and what we talk about here on a regular basis. And I figured we can watch it together. So 1-minute video and we can just have a discussion on it. That's about it. Got a couple of articles that I want to go through as well. I want to see if I can key those up, but it's going to be a nice and relaxed one. Fairly short agenda, but I say that many times and we end up going fairly long, but that's okay. But yeah, should be a good one. Should be a fun one. So I think we should just hop right into the video, and then we can go into the article that I wanted to go through, which is just talking about Jamaica being a great location for meetings, investments, conferences, and exhibitions. And this was shared by one of you, the subscribers, with me, and I thought this was, and so did they apparently, that this was a perfect article for us to talk about and discuss. And of course, if you have any, let me know where you are from, city, state, country. Always like to hear that. Love starting off these live streams with that. Kind of keeps us in touch and also connects people from the same areas. We'll do some brief ThropX updates as well. Exciting things, continue to have exciting things with that. We've got some big announcements coming up that I am excited to share with you. And I had this idea I can share with you all now, because since we're on the stream, I had this idea of like, I won't even say it's an idea. It's like it's an idea, but I'm actually gonna do it. And it's just sharing the speakers in video format that are going to be coming on just kind of like on a weekly basis. But if you get the newsletter, you're already going to know about it. But to me, it's just like another way to give people information in a different format about the different speakers that we have, and also talk specifically about the agenda. And I know a lot of people have been asking about that, the specific agenda for specific days. So we actually kind of have that down right now, and we're uh, having basically two strong themes for each of the panel days, because I know some people can only make, say, one day, and they want to make the real estate day that day that they come in and and participate, which I understand. And so we've designed the itinerary, the agenda for the ThropX panel days accordingly. I got a message today. I saw in a comment, people were asking, is there going to be a healthcare component? Absolutely, there's going to be a healthcare component. We have multiple speakers, both. I would say we're covering three areas of health at ThropX. One is I would say, your traditional healthcare, everything from prescription medications to health services, the quality of healthcare in Jamaica. We have experts on that. But then we also have mental health as well. And I think that's a big part of just where we are as a society, and making that more of a priority, at least I would say in America. And I also think that that is coming over here to Jamaica in a strong way, and it's starting to be recognized as a high priority, the mental health of people of all ages. And I think it's important that we have an expert in that. And then we have health from a wellness perspective. And I know a lot of visitors come here for that. And we talked about, or maybe I'm mixing up a shoot that I just recently did, Jackie's, but really talking about Jamaica being this place of rejuvenation, getting back on track to on your journey, finding yourself. And I think that is an incredibly important element of Jamaica as a whole. And people come here for many, many different reasons to visit. People come here for many, many different reasons to move and to live. And I think it's important to highlight I would say, the health benefits, but also the health options across all three of those categories. So we have experts in all of those fields. And this is something that I will say that I'm seeing that the Jamaica Tourist Board in general is really starting to push, because it's a huge, huge advantage that we have as a country, and we should absolutely be exploiting it to the fullest, because that is something that is just so special about Jamaica. And it should be recognized worldwide, globally, and I believe that it is. But as a country, we should be really capitalizing on that. And from our perspective, I think we should be attracting those people here that are perhaps looking for healing and looking for rejuvenation. And in many respects, I think Jamaica is a perfect place for many people, but perhaps they don't even know about it, or maybe not even have considered it. And I look at at my conference as an avenue for bringing that enlightenment, so to speak, to conference goers, whether you're virtual or you're going to be there in person. So yeah, long answer on whether or not we're going to have healthcare. We absolutely are. And of course, we're also going to be, a big part of this conference is going to be real estate. There's going to be I would say at least half of one day for that. And then we have a whole entire day dedicated to touring Negril and touring different real estate opportunities as well. So we have quite a few real estate agents that are going to be coming. And I think that that's also part of one of the advantages here as well, is that even though I might not be able to get every real estate agent that I would love to have on a panel discussion and to come on stage, but they're going to be there. And I think that's more important than anything else. And if you're watching, if you're a long-term viewer of this channel, or you've seen some of the real estate videos, that those real estate experts will be here, and you'll be able to have private conversations with them about whatever your situation is. And that's one of the main goals that I have for ThropX 2023, is like, for everybody who comes, especially, is to get as specific about whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, whatever goal you have, with the people that can help you. And that is exactly I would say the auspices under which I am bringing them. Like, so if I go to one of these real estate agents and experts, they know that they are there to help, that they are there to serve. So it shouldn't be a situation where if you're asking a question or you may be afraid to ask a question about your very unique situation that may not apply to anybody else, but I doubt that, but that could be the situation. But I want you to be able to ask your question, get as granular as you would possibly like to, and walk away with some solid answers and a solid direction, and hopefully a solid team behind you to help you accomplish your goals. So let's hop over to the comments here. I sound pretty loud. I don't know why. Maybe it's the headphones today. So I can really hear myself today. What's going on, Phil? Good to see you. Phil says Canada is too cold. It's too cold. It can be for sure. Donna Bryce, good afternoon, Throp and Throp family from Ottawa. Good to see you. Ocean Gray, how you doing? Nice to see you. What's going on? Leon says, blessing, Throppers. Thank you very much. Rachel says, Throppers. Good to see you. Apparently, somebody has a problem with being called Throppers. I don't know if you guys saw that, but, let me know what you guys think of that. You guys came up with a name, but that was in one of the comments under a community post that I had, I think, last week for Matthew, or the last live stream, I believe it was. So, yeah, I found that interesting. They don't want to be called Throppers. Donna Bryce says, Throp, I'm getting beach view withdrawal. Man, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. we will get back there. I promise. We just got to keep it up here for right now. I got to be as efficient as possible with my time these days, and this is just so much easier for me right now. But we will get back to that beach view at some point in time. I promise you that. Grantle says, Canada way too cold. Another person running from the cold. Paulette Nelson says, hello, Throp and Throppers. Hello to you. Thanks for joining, Paulette. Justin D says, Canada cold. First I'm hearing about this. And Ocean Gray is chiming in from Ottawa. Maureen Thomas, Jamaica is the place. It's paradise. I can't agree with you more. Julia for Justice. Hello from Ottawa, Canada. Nice to see you, Julia. Corey MPA, good evening from Florida. Leon says, Thropper's getting restless with beach withdrawal syndrome. Isn't it amazing? We live in Jamaica and a beach view or swim is only minutes away. Nothing like seeing the sun wake up with an early swim. I agree. And I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day about I don't think I take it for granted, the beach that is, but I would like to get in the water more often. And so at least once a week. But these days, like I said, time is extremely valuable. It's really, really tight. Like my days have been packed and continue to be for the foreseeable future. And I'm okay with that. I actually like that. But nonetheless, it's hard to squeeze in time for a quick swim. But I'm gonna try to get back into doing it after running in the morning. Just hop in the water real quick and get that sea salt. It can be healing at times. MDL says, hi, Throp and Throppers, chiming in from the Washington, D.C. area. Thank you, MDL, for joining. Nice to see you. Simone says, hi, Throp and everyone. Troy Marie says, hey, Throp, happy evening. Thanks for joining. Trina says, please, can you post a link to ThropX? Sure, it's thropx.com. I'll put that there. And I'll also put it up there as well. Yeah, and you can find out more information about the conference on the website. I'd also say rooms are going. So if you're thinking about coming, I would say book your room first. book your room. That's more of the priority right now. If something is going, it's definitely the rooms. People are booking like I said before, single days as opposed to the whole conference, which is fine. We made it so it's a la carte. So if you may not be interested in any of the panels, which I would find very hard to believe because I think that's the most valuable thing with this conference. But you may just want to come on the real estate tour, and that's okay too. You can do that, and you just know Jamaica. You know what you want to be here, and you just want to see what's available physically, and all you want to do is come on the real estate tour that we have, and that's fine. But if you are coming for the whole week, I would definitely suggest to book your hotel really soon because rooms are definitely going. But don't panic. We have other hotels that we've partnered with. So we've partnered with Shirella Inn, Negril Tree House, and Coca La Palm. So they are giving us, I don't know them off the discounts off the top of my head, but they have discounted rates for ThropX. You just got to let them know that you're booking with ThropX. And also here, if you're booking here at Travelers, same thing. So those hotels are great hotels, same category as Travelers, and they are trusted hotels that I would recommend anybody to stay at. They're competitors for sure, but I always like to say we have I would say, a very fruitful competitive relationship here in Negril, and we definitely support each other. Like I went to them to help for support with this conference. Like it wasn't even a question. Like right away, discount, put it on the website. Like they sent me everything. So great hotels to work with, great hotels to stay. Very close. If you know how the makeup of Negril, you know that's not far at all from Travelers, which is where the panel discussions are being had. So those are our partner hotels, and we're working on promo for that as well. To the way I look at it is that they help me. We're going to definitely help them, and we're going to help promote their business. Cleop says Jamaica and I live in Canada, and we cannot grow any food. If a crisis come, we will starve to death and freeze. Well, I hope that doesn't happen. Trina Kid, good evening from Philadelphia, USA. Oh, okay, awesome. Thanks for chiming in, Trina, and representing Philly. Troy Marie says I had such a wonderful time in Negril the other day, so wanted to come through your area, but you didn't have enough time. Hopefully next time we'll make some time. Silver Queen, I'm trying to leave combing YouTube for strategies. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully you can use the resources that I have on my website, and then also on my YouTube channel, and we have a library of content that hopefully can assist you. Justin says every time I'm in Jamaica, I'm in the water so early. Sometimes the sun is barely up. That's right, Justin. That's actually where we first met. I don't know if you remember that. I was out there for a swim, and that's where I first met you, and we had our first conversation. So the water is healing in multiple different ways, and then also it's a great place to network. I was in the water I think last week. And then I met a guest that was staying here. I just came back from swimming out, and just got to chatting and told her about the channel. She's trying to move here. Told her about the conference, and she says she wants to come to the conference. So the water is a great place to do some great networking. I can tell you that firsthand. This water specifically. Danielle, separate independent beach view camera, ongoing live stream on the beach, can toggle to it whenever the news does the traffic cams. Yeah, good idea. Great idea. I really got to look into this. That's something that I had said before, but just haven't got around to it. We will definitely look into that, see if we can just set something up there and we can just kind of chime in. But hopefully the software that I'm using here can help me with that. Leon Newton says trouble with Thropper's name means they not a one-day supporter. They're not a day one supporter. Back when you really doing those marathons, they definitely weren't here in the beginning for the naming ceremony. Oh, you remember that, Leon? Yes. That's what I figured. I was gonna say something like that. I was gonna be like, yo, it's a shame you weren't here when the name came up with it, because it was the community that came up with that name. So good point, great point, Leon. Thank you for bringing that to light. Kick Rock says, "Hey all, just joined. To me, it's way too expensive to retire in Canada, even if you pay off a mortgage." We are going to get into that shortly. Great insight there, Kick Rocks. And Kick Rocks continues to say, "Property taxes are quadruple compared to Jamaica at barely a couple hundred a year. House prices in Jamaica, to me, are still way cheaper than Canada." Great point. We're going to address that shortly when we watch this video together. Natasha York says, "Greetings all from Atlanta. Good to see you. Miss Perfectly Imperfect. Happy Thursday to you as well." Jesus Saves says, "The place where there is a good healthcare system that caters for all ailments in old age." So great comment, Jesus Saves. I had a conversation with Mr. Grizzle. We did it like a couple of pieces, couple of conversations. We just did a podcast earlier this week. And if you haven't seen my video with Mr. Grizzle, great. Just let me see if I can pull it up right here and share it with you all. We did it about probably close to 2 years ago. And he is for sure like a great mentor of mine, but even more so, just just a stalwart in the Negril community in terms of just I would say protecting it, helping it to develop, and he's just a very very wise person, and he gave some, I would say, some really great advice for people who are looking to retire here, and specifically people who the diaspora who are living abroad wherever in the world and are considering moving back to Jamaica, moving back to their home. And he just like really broke things down. And he's speaking also from the perspective that he too is a part of the Jamaican, or was part of the Jamaican diaspora, and he was in England for an extended period of time, got his education there, and he decided to move back to Jamaica to become a farmer, and then eventually become a hotelier, and then turned into a community leader, and is really just I'm putting the link to the video there. So I would, if you haven't seen my interview, my sit down with Mr. Grizzle, which we did a little over a year ago, highly recommend it, especially if you're at or near retirement age. And he gives perspective that I just couldn't. So, and then to your question, to your comment here, Jesus Saves. We talked about earlier this week in the podcast. We talked a lot about healthcare and also the advantages of being in Jamaica as it relates to healthcare, and specifically in Negril. We got Omega Medical Hospital, private new clinic that we have here, hospital, I should say. And that is just like a huge plus. Like it's just a huge game changer for our community. And also, I would even say people who are looking to retire here, to have this first world facility at our doorsteps. I mean, it's just a blessing. It's something that we've been looking to have for a long time. My dad actually tried to build a hospital for Negril. Man, we're probably looking at like 12 years, 11 years ago. I want to say 11, 12 years ago, we tried to build the Negril International Hospital, but it didn't work out for us and our team. But now we have one, and that's all that matters. And that hospital for sure is saving lives and is going to continue to save lives in perpetuity. And even outside of that, for somebody who needs to, so, hospital aside, one of the great advantages of living in Jamaica and healthcare is like the access is so easy. So if you don't want to, you don't have to go to a doctor's office. The doctor will come to you. They will, bring their equipment, and most of the doctors in Negril, they're mobile, and just being a tourist destination, they're used to going to hotels and treating patients there, because most hotels don't have a doctor on property 24/7. So the doctors travel, and like they're used to doing these house calls, so to speak. Then you can of course go to a doctor's office if you need, and then if you need, imaging or whatever have you, then we have that available as well at the Omega Medical facility. And then also not, outside of, and then from a convenience standpoint, we have that hospital, but then also outside of that, you got Montego Bay and you got Savlamar. But why now we don't have to totally rely on those locations for certain medical imaging and scanning and that sort of thing. And then I will say, I was listening to a podcast this morning talking about the astronomical cost of healthcare in the United States, and the U.S. is the highest cost. What was it? It's the most expensive healthcare. It's the most expensive healthcare of developed countries, and like 2 to 3 times more than the next one. And they were talking specifically about prescription medications, and they gave stories about people having to go to Canada to get cheaper prescriptions. I say like Jamaica is far cheaper. I talked about doing a video on this. I will do a video on this, like just breaking down the, what would I say, the top 5-10 prescriptions that are sought after in Jamaica, for, I would say, for our demographic, for Black people in general, and the cost of it. And that's what I always tell people, like, we're a Black nation, right? And so there are diseases that we are genetically predisposed to having, and of course, as a society, we got to make sure we take care of those diseases and be able to handle them. So in a sense, Jamaica is an expert in that, and those medications are readily available here. And so I always just kind of like to bring that to light. And then dental, I recently did a video on dental as well. So dental is very available here, even in Negril. We got a first world facility here. And I did a video on dental options as well. That was a long rant. I didn't mean to go on that, but let's keep rolling here. Andrew Blake, hi Throp and family. Be here in Jamaica. It's beautiful. Awesome. Good to know that you're here. Kev, it's already getting cold in Canada at nights. It is very expensive to retire in Canada. Jamaica for me. Awesome. The global Canadian expats tax real estate. Hey, Throp, I stayed at your hotel last year. It was great. For Canadians retiring in Jamaica, an important item to note is they still have access to their pension, etc., just different tax rules. I help Canadian expats with tax implications. Yes, I remember you. I definitely remember you. And yeah, I mean, this is great. That good thing about this community is like everybody is a different expert and has some affiliation to Jamaica, or whether it's they want to invest here, want to live here. And so the global Canadian, yeah, if you want to throw, I don't know how to do this on the chat without exposing you, sort of thing, but like, please, if anybody has any questions to that, I remember you specifically, and we talked a lot about real estate and also investing here. And then you told me about your business. I think we met twice, as a matter of fact, but I definitely remember you. So yeah, reach out to her, please do. And if you have any questions, if that's okay, I steer things your way, but I think you are open to that sort of solicitation, given your comment. Donna Ellington, good evening from Brooklyn. I will be retiring in Jamaica St. Anne. Awesome, good for you. Silver Queen LLC says Jamaica bound. Kick rocks, plant your little good stuff, and I think you can retire comfortably with as little as $2,000 per month. It's almost middle class to luxury living. Presently, my view, I have the best of both worlds, and I choose Jamaica every time. $2,000 a month. Yep, you can live really good off of that here. Really good off of that. Justin D says, true. I almost met your father in the water when he was doing his walks. Awesome. Caribbean Queen Fit. I will be in Jamaica next week. Awesome. Good for you. Hope you have an awesome time. Monica Welsh, hi Throp. Happy Thursday. Another beautiful day. We give thanks for another show. Absolutely. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. Andrew Aswabi says, happy Thursday. Happy Thursday to you as well. Danielle, did I hear correctly, a high-end establishment coming to Redgown Tank Hill? I don't know about that. We did on the tour last year for Throp X. We toured up there. I don't remember the name of the place, but it was a beautiful piece of land with an incredible view. I could tell you that. I don't remember how much it was going. That was St. Alban Clark. But yeah, it was in that area. I gotta go back and look at that. But I haven't heard that. But it maybe it's that same land that we went to visit and somebody bought it. Who knows? Lloyd Daly, sorry, I would never visit or invest in Jamaica because success makes you a target. I think that's everywhere. And I always tell people like Jamaica is, so I'll say two things on that. I mean, you feel how you feel, Lloyd, about and avoid about living in Jamaica or investing here. And I always tell people like, don't get caught up in your own emotions. Don't allow yourself to miss out on an incredible opportunity because of a headline that you read or whatever have you. And maybe you have your own personal experience, and I don't mean to dismiss that by any means at all. But nonetheless, like Jamaica is moving in a very, that was like thunder. That was crazy. I don't know if you guys heard that, but it is about to storm like hurricane. Like I went outside just now and it was dark. Sorry. So if we cut out, that's what's going on here. We got a storm going on. Sorry. So I was saying, don't allow headlines to dissuade you from making a smart, I would say, a smart investment with a high possibility of a high return. And if you look at the direction that Jamaica is heading in, and definitely Negril in a big way, it's just like, man, don't be one of those people like in 5 years from now that you're just kicking yourself. And second, I will say, as far as like being a target, I always tell people like you just got to know how to move in Jamaica. Jamaica is just like at least I don't feel, and this is just not in my personality either, but Jamaica is not a place where you to be flashy, to flex on people. At least that's my opinion. There are people that do that. Like the other day, like Dream Weekend, I don't know if you guys saw this video, but like there is this line of luxury vehicles, Ferrari, like driving through the bad road in Lucy that we always talk about. Like there's a beautiful red Ferrari coming into Negril, and people flexing on people. Like that is, yes, for sure. I don't know whose Ferrari that is or anything like that, but like in many ways, that definitely does put a target on your back. So that being said, like Jamaica is like a beautiful place to live, and it's a great, great lifestyle. But there was just certain things that you can do to avoid certain types of attention, and I I just encourage people to just think smartly. And I am, I don't consider Jamaica a place that you have to like always be like turning your head and watching your back. I don't feel that way. I don't move in fear out here, not even in the slightest. And I really enjoy my life out here. And a lot of people do. A lot of people enjoy their lives. A lot of people enjoy living here in a much bigger way than I do, if you will. And, I'm here in country Westmoreland. And I like my life out here is what I'm trying to say. And I think people can find a way to enjoy Jamaica perhaps better than wherever it is that they're currently living. It's all about how you do it, and all about also, like I say, how you move out here. And then thirdly, I think this goes in hand with how you move, who you associate yourself with. I mean, that's just like it's just life in general, right? And if you keep certain types of company, you're going to attract certain types of vibe, and you're going to attract certain types of people. MDL says, I have spent most of my life in Canada. Time to come home to Jamaica and enjoy my life in paradise. Can't wait. Angela Forbes says, Jamaica doesn't realize what they have. Glad to see the improvement that's going on. More needs to be done. There's still no competition. Jamaica is paradise. I was having this conversation with Jackie from Jackie's on the Reef, and she was saying the same thing, but she was also saying from a standpoint of self enlightenment and healing. And she was just saying Jamaicans in general have like this healing power that they don't even realize and recognize that they should take advantage of. And that's like part of the reason why she moved from, I believe she was in Harlem, New York, and then she moved here to Jamaica and started living in a tent on the West End here in Jamaica, and then she built in Negril, excuse me, and then she built out her business, and it was a big part of that was from the healing energy that she got not only from Jamaica, the country, the soil, but also the people. And that conversation is coming out soon. Like really, really another. I put Mr. Grizzle and Jackie very much on the same level, and I think you all are really going to enjoy that one. Man, comments are coming in fast. Let me kind of go through these quickly so we can get to this video I keep talking about. Cleop says, thank you, Throp. You are doing a great job by highlighting the positivity in the country of Jamaica. I used to watch you on that show on BET, and you were always on a humble. Keep up the good job. Thank you. That's so funny. If that's how you found me, that is hilarious. I don't hear that. I don't hear that often, but yeah, thank you for joining the community and thank you for watching me on BET. That's hilarious. Ruby, right, Ruby. Yeah, yes. Like I said, I remember you. Jesus Save says healthcare is very expensive in Jamaica, and we do not have a national healthcare system. Public hospitals are not doing well. So expensive is very relative when it comes to healthcare. And as I was saying before, the US is one of the most expensive places in the world when it comes to healthcare. Jamaica healthcare cost does not compare to the US healthcare costs. And when you take somebody who is living in the US and who moves here to Jamaica and they've been earning their income in US dollars, have their saving in US dollars, their retirement fund is in US dollars. When they come here to Jamaica to pay for healthcare, it's a joke to them. I'll give you a real world example. I have a friend who she has a hip issue and she doesn't have healthcare in the United States. So she's from the US and a young woman, and she needs to get an MRI done. And in the US, I believe when we were talking about this, we're looking at about, depending on where you are, between $3,000 to $5,000 to get an MRI, more than likely closer to $5,000. And to come down here and do it, I had an MRI on my right knee. I tore my MCL a few months ago, and it cost me 300. I have that video. I documented the whole thing. That's going to come out at some point. This is a good reminder. Anyway, it cost me $350 to get the MRI, and like got the MRI done, imaging, also a breakdown by a physician as to exactly what is wrong with my knee. Take it back to my primary care doctor, and we come up with a plan and take it from there. $350 compared to average $5,000. So far, far, far cheaper. My point is, my friend, the young lady, she is going to come to Jamaica in a couple of months to get her MRI done here. She's going to pay for a few days, come get a vacation, pay for a few days. I already connected her with my doctor who's going to do the referral. That'll probably cost her $50 US. And then she's going to go set up the appointment. You'll go on Tuesday. You'll get the results Wednesday. Email to the primary. You get your email as well. And same exact information. An MRI in Jamaica is the same as an MRI in the United States, costing you a fraction of what it would have. So again, expensive in healthcare is extremely relative. Extremely relative. Claire T Media, hello Throp and family. I'm still here transitioning from California to Negril. I have to get some cosmetic dental work done here instead of Colombia. Any recommendations? Yes. I don't know exactly what you're looking to do, but the video, let me see if I can find it real quick for you. I would highly recommend if you go to the Boardwalk Shopping Plaza, Shopping Village, I believe it's called. Sorry. And I'm putting in the comments right there. Watch the video, and you can. And I'm going to put the doctor's contact information in the comments as well, so you can contact his offices. Oh man, I don't even have it in there. It's towards the end of the video. I don't know, Candice, if you're watching or not, if you can Just check that out, Arhavika. If you can just put in the video with Dr. Murray, if you can just put his contact information in there. So the name of his business is Natural Smiles, and if you go towards the end of the video, you can see his contact information. So Natural Smiles is at Boardwalk Shopping Village, and you can see what services that he has to offer. I know he does do cosmetic dental work. I actually had this is obviously not cosmetic, but I had to get an emergency filling. I cracked my tooth, and he fixed it, and beautiful, good to go. No problems, no problems at all. KJ Martin says Jamaica has a good primary healthcare access with clinics. More Jamaicans need to use for checkups before things get bad, then go to the hospital. Yeah, so I'll say two things on that. Good comment, KJ. The Agree with you totally. Primary care here is phenomenal. Keep up with your appointments. I think you can avoid a lot of things in the future. I'd also say, in terms of, and this is another great point Mr. Grizzo brought up, is the proximity to the United States and Miami is also a huge advantage. So if there is a situation where you do need some sort of major surgery that Jamaica perhaps doesn't offer or isn't proficient at, you're an hour flight away from Miami. Excuse me. And I think that's also a huge advantage of living in Jamaica. It's not like you're, an 8-hour flight, or you got to go to Europe or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's closer. It's very, very, very close. So that's another advantage. Claire T says, this thunder and lightning have me spooked. People are laughing at me. Yeah, I could hear it from here. Doors are closed. We got soundproof, and it is hitting. Jesus says retiring on a foreign pension is good because of the exchange rate. That is the only plus, along with weather. Jay Thompson says, I'm thinking of retiring in Jamaica. Cost of living in Canada is going out of control, and winter's too long. Growing up Jamaican says, I was in Jamaica, Runaway Bay area the entire month of July. Wish I could pack it in and come back today. That would be awesome. One day. Simone B says, agree, like NYC, not to flash in certain communities. Pretty much. And Jamaica is like, I don't know. It's just, it's just not part of my personality. Just never even crossed my mind to do that sort of thing. And and it's just not that kind of place. I don't think it's that kind of place that you should be doing it. This is not Monaco or the south of France or anything like that. That you just gotta, being flashy is part of the culture. But it is, there are people who do it. I just don't recommend it at all. I don't recommend it anywhere. I don't recommend anywhere. Inga Baby says, I find it hard when I hear Jamaicans say they won't move back to Jamaica. Meanwhile, foreigners are buying up the country. Crazy. I think that's also a very good perspective. Very, very good perspective. Justin D says, tell me the place where you're not a target nowadays. World is crazy. Yeah, the world is crazy. And I think what I was just saying about like knowing how to move here, I think that really applies to kind of almost everywhere. There are not many places that you can just kind of move just freely, so to speak. And like I said, even with the cautious recommendations that I'm making, like I don't move here in fear, like at all. Like I feel very free here and very comfortable. Claire T Media says, I bought my 9,800 square foot loft off the West End Road to build a retirement home. Made a few friends, got rid of some, taking the building process slowly with no pressuring me or taking advantage. Awesome. Good for you. Congrats, Claire. Sorry. Clary T. Sorry. It's hard to see some of these names sometimes. That's why we like zoom in. Clary. Danielle, I think the Red Ground 10 kill comment was in the Maura Watson video. We'll go back. Okay. Yeah, I must have missed that one. Sometimes I just forget. I don't know who I was talking to the other day, but like I forget what I say in some of these videos. A lot of them, like, because you just do so many, so it's just hard to remember. Or even what I hear, sometimes it's hard to remember. Cleop says, "Drop Jamaica is slowly becoming a minority in the country, in their country, and not realizing it slowly but surely." Yeah, That's true, and this is why I keep and this was a big theme, and I don't want to give too much away with the podcast that I did with Mr. Grizzle. It's just like, man, come back and invest in your own country. Come back and buy a piece of the rock because it's yours. It's your birthright, and other people are doing it from different nations, and not in any way do we discourage them. Like, we encourage foreign direct investment. We want it. We love when people come here and choose Jamaica over another country to do business, to build hotels, to move to retire to. And I'm just like, man, I wish more of us did the same. I wish more of us did the same. But I do think that a lot of people are starting to see the light, hopefully, and hopefully this program and this channel is helping assist people with that, and the reframing of mindsets in terms of how they look at Jamaica, and also learning from other people who have already done it. And so we're going to continue to bring people on the show along those lines. Andrew Blake says humility doesn't seem to be an attribute in some people. If you don't like or have any interest in Jamaica and all things, keep it moving to what you really are interested in. Agreed. Throp, we got frozen here. One sec. Throp, I really dislike those of our diaspora that view Jamaica through the lenses of crime, like it's unique to the island, while by the numbers, there's a greater chance of danger in their current situation. Yeah. Yeah. I see a lot of it just, I don't know if you call it self hate, but and again, who knows what these people's experiences are? Maybe they had personal experiences that we cannot necessarily relate to. But I just do think that people do kind of get caught up in the media and a lot of other channels that are out there that are just really pushing this sensationalization of what is happening, and it gets some views, so they're incentivized to do that in a big way. Unfortunately, people listen and watch to that and that alone. Peter V, partially because of you and your program, I am seriously considering retiring in Jamaica. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Glad to hear that, Peter. And I'm humbled to be a part of whatever research that you're doing in your consideration. Caribbean Queen Fit. Yep, I was on BET last year, did a dating show there, which was a lot of fun. I have some watch party videos on the channel if you want to check it out. Met some really interesting people, great experience doing that dating show, and fun doing it, fun watching myself go looking back on it. But I'm definitely one and done. I have no interest in doing any more dating shows at this point in time, or I would say for the future period. Instant Luck says Canada is too racist for us. Lived in Toronto for 25 years. Many of us don't have generational wealth either. Too expensive. Comfy here in Japan. Retiring in J sounds nice. Oh, awesome. I did. So a couple things about your comment, Instant Luck. I did a podcast recently with man, I'm trying to remember the name of the group. Black expats living local in Jamaica. And I did an interview with the founder, and he is going to sound obviously very ignorant to Canadians, but I didn't know about like racism in Canada or the history of racism in Canada until I sat down with this brother. And like we had like a 2-hour conversation, and this guy was just spitting the whole time. And it was just like a huge, huge education for me. And I just realized how naive I was, and I just wasn't educated in that way. I have American education, and we really did not go at all into Canadian history or Canadian civil rights. And you just think of, from American perspective, you think of Canada as this very peaceful, open, and welcoming country. And the way he explained it to me, that very much, in many respects, not the case. So yeah, that was kind of news to me. So that podcast is coming up. I'm actually really excited for that one for sure. Richard McLean says, I just paid £2,000 in UK for MRI scans. Jeez. I thought you guys had universal healthcare over there. What's up with that? Clarity says, I saw the video. I'll call Dr. Murray. Awesome. Good for you. Tisha Amoy chiming in from Florida. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Kick Rock says, so happy to hear about that InfoThrop. Some doctors' offices accept your dental plan or health plan, or you can submit to your insurance company and you'd be surprised. Valor Wright says, in Canada, we have an excellent healthcare system. So when I retire in Jamaica, I will travel back to Canada for my annual checkup. I did an MRI last week on my ears and I paid zero. I would also say you can do your annual checkup here too. I mean, it'll be cheaper for sure, hands down, than buying a ticket and going to Canada, and I would arguably get the same results in terms of whatever it is that you're looking for. So something to take into consideration. Inga Baby says some people have to show off on their own. KJ Martin says access to healthcare in Jamaica is free. My mom uses it to take it to the community clinic to get my dental done, all free. Joy Turner says, "Hey, I'm happy to make the live from New Brunswick. Awesome. I have lived most of my life in Canada, and the healthcare system is excellent. So I hear. Joy Turner says, I will buy into Jamaican's healthcare system as I am in the process of moving back. And I also recommend as relatively affordable as healthcare is in Jamaica, like for sure, I would recommend getting health insurance. If you're working here, a lot of companies do offer that. We offer that here at Travelers. But and then you're taken care of in that sense. But you can also buy individual health insurance, and it just mitigates against, just brings down the prices that you would pay. That again, I already think are relatively affordable. So I always recommend getting healthcare. Daniel says, seriously, buy land or especially get titles for your family's land ASAP. D is live from New York. Sean de Ferguson, will you offer other seminars like the one in November? Don't have any plans. This keeps coming up of doing like maybe like a mini one in the middle of the year. Probably not so extensive. Excuse me. I would say we're considering doing one like more like a meetup in March. We're actually considering doing one in the UK in April. I'm running the London Marathon at the end of April, and we're looking to use that just while I'm out there to do a meetup out there in London. So we will. I will keep you posted. We probably won't even get to start planning that. Definitely not until January. Definitely after ThropX. But this is just an idea that we're rummaging around with, and I know we have a big contingent out there in the UK, and it'll be great to meet those folks who are unable to come to ThropX. Even though I know people from the UK are coming to ThropX this year, which I'm excited to meet some of you, all of you, but especially for those who are coming from so far. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at. And then probably maybe we'll do just something easy at a local restaurant, and we'll do like a small meetup, and it'll be a great networking event as well. But good idea, Shwanda. Simone, that's you guys talking. I'll leave that. Bernard says, living in Canada now, might be interested to spend 6 months in Jamaica for winter, 6 months in Canada. Are there recommended gated communities with amenities like pools that you have recommended? Absolutely, tons and tons and tons. I always tell people, I'll say, Bernard, I think that like what you're saying is like the dream of like spending half the year here, half the year in Canada, America, UK, wherever it is, kind of get the best of both worlds. And if you can afford to do so, why not? I think it's a great lifestyle. As far as recommendations for different gated communities, I always tell people first, like, figure out which part of the island you want to live. And although Jamaica is Jamaica, there are very different aspects of how to do Jamaica, so to speak. And it really depends on what you are looking for. And so if you're looking for like, super laid back, but you still want to have access to the beach, then, maybe a Port Antonio would be for you. Or maybe you want to be in the mountains and you don't really care about the beach, but you like to have great sunrises. Maybe, St. Thomas is for you. Or maybe you want to live on the beach and you want to build your dream home on there. And so maybe South Coast and maybe Treasure Beach is for you. So it really depends. And there are gated communities in all of these places. There are some places that I would say you don't need to be in a gated community. Like, for example, like I would put I can say from my experience and just going there so often, being in Treasure Beach, like there is just it's such a I mean, knock on wood, of course, but it is a really, really safe community. And I know people who live there that don't even lock their doors because it's so safe. And so if living, retiring in St. Elizabeth in Treasure Beach in St. Elizabeth, that's a different lifestyle. Of course, like I said, move with caution and be smart about your surroundings and who you hang out with. It really depends on where you want to go, and I would say I can certainly guide you from there. Son of a King says everybody's trying to get out of Canada. My entire family wants out. My grandparents came from Jamaica in the 70s. I hear you. We're gonna get to this video. We've been going almost an hour here, and I've been talking about this video, and we haven't touched it. Merrill is chiming in from London. Nice to have you. Kick Rock says again why I said forget it. I'm moving back to Jamaica. Bree Creative says, "Hi, real estate student tuning in from Kingston. Awesome, nice to have you, Bree. We need the young real estate stallions coming in. Hopefully, you can make it to maybe Throp X, and could be a good opportunity for you for a young, bright mind in the real estate industry here in Jamaica. Thanks for joining, Bree." B still says, wondering how the pension works if you move from Canada to Jamaica and never return overseas. I know I've heard this about Canada. You Canadians can correct me in this is that I heard that if you're a Canadian citizen, that in order to keep your health care, like you have to go back, every now and then. But as far as I know from the American way, like you could retire anywhere in the world and you get your pension and you can live your life however you want, wherever you want. Zoe Buckley says, "Hi, Throp. Your show is so educational and inspirational. My husband and I are a couple of years away from retirement, and last year we closed on our house in Hanover. We can't wait to come home." Oh man, awesome! Congratulations to you both, and that is a huge deal. That is a huge, huge deal. And hopefully one day maybe I can meet you guys at some point in time. Hanover is right there. Donna Bryce says, "I am not discounting anyone's experience by any means, but personally have not experienced racism and have lived here since 1988. The company I work for is extremely diverse and anyone can excel. I still love Jamaica. Nowhere is perfect, not Canada or Jamaica. Pros and cons to both." Yeah, I hear you on that. Everybody's experience is different. Even my experience, same thing in the United States. I can't say growing up, that is, I don't have I can't point to like a specific racial experience that I've had in the United States, like growing up at least. As a kid, were there some things that I may not have seen that were systemic and maybe I didn't get certain opportunities because I was a black kid? Maybe, but I didn't feel it. I never thought that I was in any way disadvantaged, for sure. But I'm very familiar and understand the history of the United States and also that of the systemic racism that just is just so blatant and does exist there, especially from when you just start looking at the numbers and everything like that, which we don't have to get into. Yeah, I know what you mean, Donna. I know exactly what you mean. Justin D says, Donna, pros and cons everywhere. Steven says, has anyone heard millionaire or billionaire crying about racism the way non-millionaire and billionaires do? I mean, sure, I see what you're saying here, but racism exists. Like there's no question. I'll say for America, there's no question that it exists. Just in crazy ways, and I've experienced as an adult, I've experienced like I've experienced I would say slight racism for sure, but nothing to the point that has directed my life or changed my life in any way because I don't allow it to. But there aren't, but I also recognize my position, and I also recognize that I don't work for corporate America, but I do have friends that do, and and I've met people on through this channel that do, and they talk about their experiences and how they've been held back and how they have to act a certain way in order to fit in. And so I recognize all that, and I'm in a very different situation where that sort of thing in many ways doesn't necessarily. I'm lucky enough that I don't have to allow it to affect me. I can walk away, but some people don't have that, and I see what you're saying about just focusing on your forward movement and upward mobility, and I get that, but it exists. Like there's no in my mind, there's no doubt. I see it all the time. I hear about it all the time. Again, when you look at the demographics of Black people in America compared to white counterparts, there's just no question. There's no question in that sense. So I think it's just important to recognize but in no way be the victim and play the victim role. Like absolutely not. I don't accept that. Kick rocks. I always recommend trying renting first. Then once you're ready and happy, then buy. Rent in Jamaica is affordable as well. Some don't even see the point to buy if the rent is affordable. Yeah, I agree. I always tell people if you're considering, especially if you haven't been back to Jamaica in many years, and you're unsure of where to live or where to move to, I encourage people come spend a few weeks here. If you can spend a month here, if you can spend 3 months here, fantastic. And shop around, so to speak. See what it is like to live in Kingston, Montego Bay, Port Antonio, and get a feel of the place, get a feel of the different amenities that are offered at these different locations, what the vibe is like, what the people are into, what there's to do, because you're going to be living there and you don't want to say, move back to your own neighborhood because you think it's the same way it was when you left, and it's definitely not going to be. And then also you as a person has changed, you have grown, your experience has been different, and what you're looking for and what you consider to be your standard, I'm sure has changed over the years from when you left Jamaica and now are considering moving back. So it's worth the time and worth the money to figure out where best works for you now and where you can see yourself in the future, so you can make an informed decision on where you want to live and where you want to invest. And I think DropX is a great, I in the trailer I said this is like the best way for you to kind of dip your toe into understanding what it's like to move here and what it's like to live here. And DropX does that in a more of a hand-holding way because of the network that we have coming there. And then we're physically going out to see different places, so you can kind of understand what the real estate landscape is like from a perspective of doing business and also from a perspective of living here as well. So, even if you can't make it to ThropX in November, do it sometime during the year, come down here, use your vacation days and spend an extended period of time. Don't just come for a weekend, because when I travel, I like to this is outside of Jamaica, but I like to go to places so I can live like a local. And I love, spending a couple of days here and there on a vacation is great. And sometimes that's all we have. And if you're in that position, I understand, do that. But if you can put yourself in a position where you can live locally, you can, this is the way I think, if I'm going on a trip, I want to live locally, I want to do what the locals do and just kind of blend in if I can. And that's what I recommend for anybody here who's considering moving here, who hasn't been here in quite some time, is just go and live in Kingston for a week or 2 weeks, live in the Grill for a week or 2 weeks. And I'm telling you, it's probably not what you expect it to be. And that could be on the positive side, that could be on the negative side. And you won't know until you do it. And it's better than, thinking you're going to want to live in Kingston and you go there, you buy a place and you're just like, man, this ain't for me. And now you got a mortgage and now you got this financial commitment, but don't do that. Avoid it, spend the time, spend the money, and that way you can make a very, very informed decision and you can be very confident in your decision and wherever it is that you finally decide to move to and invest in. Andrew Blake says, just an idea, but you and Noel should go to London. You focus on the grill and Noel and all other areas. Have a dinner dance Q&A and the first year and expand it. That's a great idea, Andrew. That is a great idea. I'm going to pitch this. I'm going to pitch this to Noel. See what he thinks about this. Screenshot in it. Great idea. Okay, remember those how to white papers that the white papers that I published. Yep. Maybe update one and bless our hearts. The new throppers might find it education as they prepare for ThropX 2023. Great idea. I know somebody a couple weeks ago asked me about the white papers that we put out. And if you haven't, and Candy sent it out to you. So if you don't know what we're talking about, we put out a couple of white papers on how to basically how to get a mortgage through NHT, and we did a survey on the affordability of homes for young people of young people. Anyway, if you're interested at all, these are great documents that we put together ourselves here at Throp Media that I think will help people. We probably do need to update it because I don't think we had the new NHT thresholds that went into effect last month. So we probably need to update that. But they're great pieces of documents that could help you along your journey. So if you're interested in that, you can go to ThropX or thropmedia.com, either way, and you can sign up for the mailing list. Joy Turner says, regarding your pension following, at this point, healthcare is one of the few areas where your pension follows you wherever you go. Awesome. Steve Stevens says, Canada is a wonderful country if you have lots of money, especially nowadays. Splitting time between Jay and Canada is an ideal scenario. Canada is a beautiful country. The people nowadays is another story. Ebony X says, millionaires, billionaires may not cry about racism in public, but I'm sure they do behind the scenes. By the way, Oprah spoke about how she was discriminated by store managers. Leon Newton says, Throp, too humble, bro. Maybe drop the CNW Caribbean National Weekly right up in the chat or add it to the add it to the link to your YouTube channel descriptions for new viewers. Just thinking out loud. Okay, appreciate you, Leon. I appreciate you, Leon. These are just different write-ups that I've been in recently in these different magazines and publications about what we're doing here on this channel. Appreciate you to the max, Leon, for bringing that to the forefront. And he's just talking about going back to the person who doesn't like being called throppers. So appreciate you. And he's just basically saying they probably don't understand what we do here and also where we're coming from. Angela Forbes says, Throp, you were lucky. Maybe your family shielded you from it or you didn't recognize it. Living here for 25 years, I've seen it very often. More so when Trump was president. It's not a nice experience. No. So again, Angela, I'm just saying growing up in Long Island, New York, that just didn't as a kid. Now, I think now this is a different era. I see it all the time. I see it on Facebook. I've seen it with, a lot of my business school friends who are Republicans really just coming out their face and saying craziness, posting craziness about it's almost as if, when Trump came to power, it's like, a lot of people just got very, very empowered and emboldened by his presence, which is crazy. And also very, very surprising. Also very surprising with people who I grew up with, being big Trump supporters and being just putting out these very racist posts on Facebook. And these are kids who I went and did sleepovers with, and I went to their homes and their mom made us breakfast and they did the same. And they came to my home and I introduced them to Jamaican food, and they were having ackee and saltfish and plantain and dumplings for breakfast for the first time at my home. And these were considered my very best friends. And we played football together, ran track, did soccer. And here we are however many years later, and this guy comes into power, and just like you just question a lot of things. And like me and my close friends now, we're just like, man, where is this coming from? Was this always here? Did this always exist? And we were just ignorant and naive to it as we were growing up. And we grew up in a very I grew up in a very mixed neighborhood, very mixed high school, and there was no racism. And that's what I mean. Like I grew up with no racism and didn't experience, like, everybody was together. And coming into this Trump era, it was just so surprising to see people who are considered my friends, my classmates, my teammates come out their face the way that they did. And so anyway, I will say a lot of my close friends who I have now, they block those people and they stop being friends with them. I didn't. I didn't. And I looked at it as like I think it's just so important that we continue to keep these conversations open and we have these dialogues. And as much as I don't believe in their ideologies, I don't believe in their rhetoric, I think, to me at least, it's important that I want to understand where they're coming from, and I want to understand like how they think. And I think it's also important that they understand where I'm coming from and how also I think, and they understand my experience and the experience of my family and my friends and my people. And to me, it's like the more opportunity that we have to have these discussions, the better chance we stand at coming to an understanding and coming to that. Maybe I'm not saying I'm going to convince anybody to change their opinion, but I hope that I can. I hope they can see from my perspective. And when they are making these racial posts and comments or whatever have you, that they think of me, that their friend that they grew up with, that their black friend that they grew up with and came and had sleepovers with, and we played on the same team, and they know me just like I know them as well. And that they're not speaking, and when they say these things, that they're not just speaking about black people, but they're also saying this about Winthrop as well. I think that's powerful and important to, again, keep that dialogue open and keep that line of communication open. And if we just block each other, or we just never want to say anything to each other, then we're just going to continue to go down these rabbit holes of these like self-reinforcing ideologies that is just a small fraction of a perspective, that and doesn't open up the ability to understand other people and wanting to understand other people, because everybody's coming with a closed fist, or maybe they're just closing the door completely. And so this is why I personally decided, like, it's important that we continue to have dialogue, even though as hard as it is. And like, yes, I do think what they're saying is racism, what they're doing is racist, but I would like to think that there is some glimmer of hope of coming to an understanding and moving more so with love and respect than anything else. But you can't do that if you can't talk to one another. All right, keeping it moving here. MNEX says, I just returned from Gambia and my Airbnb was in the community with the locals. I loved it. Yeah, that's exactly like how I like to travel as well. Grano 3 says, I bought a 2-bedroom condo in Montego Bay about 14 years ago. Been here a few times, but ready to retire. The best investment I made. I bet you. Congratulations. Good for you, Grantor. Shane Love Coaching says, happy Thursday, beautiful people. Happy Thursday to you as well. Suzette says, I'm all in. Ralston McKinsey says, Thropex 23, love you. Big up. Awesome. Thanks. Thank you, Ralston. DLO says, remember the famous shut up and dribble aimed at LeBron? Being a minority and rich doesn't guarantee equality in the United States. They love you. They love your money. I remember that. That's a great example about rich people still being affected by racism. 100%. Thank you for that, Dale. Pablo B. Sometimes I can't see these names. My eyes go crazy. Pablo B says, in Canada, most large corporations are conducting anti-racism training. For now, it's not well received by Caucasians as they are feeling attacked. A lot of that in the U.S. as well. Kareen Willock says, so true. I was in Jamaica and I lived and moved to the locals, like the locals, and it was one of my best experiences for my daughter and myself. Jamaica is a beautiful, blessed country to explore and enjoy. Clarity Media says, such a great commentary about race relations. Thank you. Justin D says, Trump clearly exposed the hidden racism that people of color already knew. Pretty much, pretty much. Ebony X says, the thoughts of your friends were always there. They were just waiting for the right time to get it off their chest. That's what makes makes me think that, honestly, like the way things turned out makes me think that, which is a real shame. Leon Newton says, I was just bigging up people. Oh yeah, I'll read this comment. It says, Shayna, blessings and blessings, queen. Salute, original Thropper, day one up. Thank you. I hope these anti-Throppers are watching this, right? Awesome. All right, let's finally, we just got through all of the comments, which I didn't expect to go this long on comments. But anyway, let's watch this video. This was, I think I saw this on Instagram, and then I saw it on YouTube. No, it was on Instagram. I might get demonetized here with the music, but I think it's worth the video. It's only a minute long, and if I need to, I'll play it again.
What is the biggest thing you regret in life?
I regret in life? I regret coming to Canada because if I had stayed in the Caribbean, I would have been way better. I came to Canada. I worked, I don't know, maybe 20 years. I had to go back to my country. 7 years, living here for 20 years, 7 years of my country give me enough money to buy 2 properties in Canada cash. 7 years, 7. And 20 years you're just paying rent and nothing. It tells me Canada is just a trap. I own property and it's hard for me. So imagine people who are from different countries for the first year and you're wasting your time, you're going to stress out, you're going to go crazy and you're going to die in less than 10 years when in your country, which would have been harder, you live for another 40, 50 years. No matter how bad it is in your country, it's only going to get worse here. I'm telling you the truth. I travel the world, I live a good life, all kind of stuff. Idea of Canada is to get out of Canada, not get in. And I've realized that between America and Canada, the people who are living back in their country are living better than us who are living over here.
All right, that was the video that I was trying to get to for the last hour. But of course, this is one person's perspective, one man's perspective, one man's experience. But I thought that this was very just relevant to our discussions that we have here on a regular basis. And that's what I was going to ask Miss Perfectly Imperfect. I was like, well, I was going to ask, what island do you think he's from? And Miss Perfectly Imperfect says he sounds Bayesian, which I agree with. And yeah, like, so I think I'll play it again in a second. It's only a minute long, and people, you can come in with your comments, however you feel about this. Excuse me. But my thoughts, we kind of already went through this in this discussion already. A lot of the things that I would say about his mindset and his approach to Canada, and kind of grouped America in that as well. And it's like, I got to be careful here, right? Because I look at my dad, for example, and he moved, his migration was left Jamaica when he was 19, went to England, then moved over to the United States. He did some entrepreneurial ventures there. He was a photographer. He was he owned a club, was a club promoter, and then he came to the United States and he did a bunch of different businesses. At one point, he owned gas stations, and he was started his biggest business was Winthrop Car Service, and then the travel service, and then limo service as well. Winthrop, and he grew it to the biggest independent Black-owned car service in New York, possibly even America. I'm not sure. He had nightclubs in New York as well, and he, give credit where credit is due. Is like America gave him a lot of opportunities as well through those businesses that he started, and he was serving the African American community, but very much serving the Caribbean community in Brooklyn, in transporting them to and from work when they couldn't get speaking of racism, right, in different time, well, when black people could not get yellow cabs because these yellow cabs were not picking up black people in certain neighborhoods, and that's how the gypsy cab service industry was formulated, because we had to take our people to work and they needed to get to work. And so if the yellow cabs aren't going to pick them up, then we have to do that, and we have to take that on our shoulders, our people. And that's how my dad really got started in the taxi and limousine business. And so he fulfilled a huge gap, a huge need in the market, in the transportation market. And those businesses, and that business particularly, Winthrop Car Service, that's what I grew up on. That's what put food on my table, a roof over my head. It got me through college. And then in that process and through the transition process, my dad decided, because he was also a travel agent, forgot to mention that. That's how he met my mother in Fiji. He was on a fam trip to Fiji, and through his career, he met my mother and married her, and then had me and my two younger brothers. And throughout his travels, he was inspired and he wanted to start a hotel. And in his latter years of living in the United States, he was transitioning from the US to Jamaica. He started Travelers, and that's how he started the business here. And this was in 94, so call it mid 90s. And I was just having this with Mr. Grizzle, like Jamaica, and especially Negril, it's just it was nowhere close to where Jamaica is now, in terms of, like, you can see a clear path. I wouldn't say clear path, but you can see a very distinct path of success. And when you look at right now in 2023, and we look at the trajectory that Jamaica is on, you're just like, smart and, I would say, informed investors is like, yeah, Jamaica is a good place to invest. In the mid 90s, I don't know about that. Especially coming from the 80s in Jamaica. I don't know about that. And so I also give my father a lot of credit of having the vision and seeing the potential of a Negril and the potential of Jamaica. And so in my dad's transition from America to Jamaica, he decided to, move to Jamaica. And this was his dream, to start this business. And he was going back and forth. And eventually he wanted to make Jamaica his home, and he wanted to retire here. That's kind of my dad's story, and how he transitioned here, and why he moved here. And he thought, and it was also hard for me to see, and, like, going back to this gentleman's this video that we just watched, he thought that there was more opportunity here in Jamaica than there was in New York. And keep in mind, again, he had a very successful taxi and limousine service business and travel agency in Brooklyn, New York. And he thought there was more potential in Jamaica at that time, not in New York. And I would even consider, even in the mid 90s, New York is a very, very mature market. And not to say that you can't be successful in New York, not to say that you can't make a lot of money in New York. Of course you can. You absolutely can. You can do exceptionally well there in New York. But even with all of these baked in advantages and all these things that he worked very hard for to achieve with his network and his businesses in New York, he still saw Jamaica as a more viable place to invest in, and a more viable place to live. And even that for me and my brothers, which, again, I will say, when I first moved here, it was hard for me to see. It was very, very hard for me to see. And it wasn't until these latter years, I would say in the last 5-7 years, then I was like, okay, man, I see what's going on here. And I just feel like we are in just such a very blessed position, and a very blessed town, a blessed community, blessed country, to just be on this very upward trajectory. And so what this gentleman is saying in this video, he just feels like he just has greater opportunity in his country. And I'm sure it still applies. And somebody was telling me that, I don't know if this is true, this is just what I heard, not confirming this, but that Jamaica has the cheapest beachfront property in all of the Caribbean, which I think is incredible because it's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. I would say for Negril, it's just like so beautiful. I think Jamaica as a whole is like incredibly beautiful. And sometimes I really don't appreciate its beauty until like I go away and I go to other countries, especially other Caribbean countries. Like, yeah, islands and beaches, water is beautiful and everything like that. But like, it's just different here. It's just different here. And I just appreciate it so much more when I go to these different islands. And so, yeah, with this gentleman, he obviously like he sees a light for his own country, and like I saying, a lot of the things that are applicable here in Jamaica, I'm sure are applicable in his home country. I'm gonna play the video one more time, and then we're gonna go through these comments. It's only a minute.
What is the biggest thing you regret in life?
I regret in life? I regret coming to Canada because if I had stayed in the Caribbean, I would have been way better. I came to Canada. I worked, I don't know, maybe 20 years. I had to go back to my country. 7 years, living here for 20 years, 7 years in my country, give me enough money to buy 2 properties in Canada cash. 7 years, 7. And 20 years you're just paying rent and nothing. It tells me Canada is just a trap. I own property and it's hard for me. So imagine people who come from different countries for the first year and you're wasting your time, you're going to stress out, you're going to go crazy and you're going to die in less than 10 years, when in your country, which would have been harder, you live for another 40, 50 years. No matter how bad it is in your country, it's only going to get worse here. I'm telling you the truth. I travel the world, I live a good life, all kind of stuff. Idea of Canada is to get out of Canada, not get in. And I've realized that between America and Canada, the people who are living back in their country are living better than us who are living over here.
All right, let's get to some of these comments here. Shane Love Coaching says, there have been a few YouTube videos I've seen from Caribbean and African people sharing similar sentiments of living abroad. Justin D says, your father is a real Don. Thank you. Kick Rock says, Canada is a trap. It will make you lie and steal at many points in many lives. Ebony X says, I came to the US 37 years ago as a teenager, and it has changed so much. Pablo B says, I agree in some sense with the guy in the video. If you earn 100,000, you are taxed 45%. Wow. Then everything purchased is subject to 13% tax. We are overtaxed in Canada. Growing Up Jamaican says, did your dad own Club Illusion on Empire in Brooklyn? No, he owned, I don't remember where it is. Oh, the Oasis nightclub. I've heard of Club Illusion back in the day. No, I think it was Oasis. I think my dad is watching right now, so he'll definitely correct me later if I got that wrong. Joy Turner says, not everyone can leave with their pension after contributing years of sweat and tears in the system. Even as a business owner, I have to be careful with my finances. I lost that. Oh, what happened to that camera? Oh, good thing we got 2 cameras. It just cut out. Okay, we just have to let that go. Sorry, that's what we got. I have to be careful with my finances in relation to government. Kick Rock says, the experiences through Canada, Canada, we all must admit is great, but my place is Jamaica. Paul Dawkins says, when you're meant to be a business owner, there is nothing anyone can do to stop you. That's his calling. As he said, Leon says, Throp. Bajans don't mince words. That man said, people living in back of his country, living better than those here. The truth is heavy when you first hear it. Tell me, where's the lie? Yeah. So I'll even say quickly on that. It's just like, I used to have like a lot of FOMO about living when I first moved here, and just like missing out on a lot of things happening as a young 20-year-old who graduated from school in New York, and seeing all my friends with their first jobs and them enjoying their life. And they always used to be jealous of me living here in Jamaica. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? You guys are living the life young in New York City, going to happy hour, doing all these great things. But now I get it, now I get it. And my friends love coming down here, and this is like their spot. and they can afford to go so many different places, but they keep coming back to Jamaica, and they love spending extended periods of time here, and a lot of it has to do with the lifestyle here. And I say all that to say is that like I do appreciate my lifestyle down here and my life down here. Um, yeah, compared to not saying my friends have great lives. Don't get me wrong; they have great lives, great families. But I'm very happy to be here, and I'm happy with my setup here. So yeah, I know what he's saying. I know what you're saying too, Leon. Kick Rock says, yes, I agree with the opportunities and experiences. And the experiences are great. Growing up Jamaica says, true. Highway 2000 project from PJ administration really opened up all possibilities in Jamaica. Simone says, different vibes in Jamaica. KJ Martin says, imagine Jamaica in the next 13 years. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be very different for sure. Kareen Wilcox, Canada is a great country to raise children to get education and great job opportunities. However, the cost of living is very high and not recommended for retirement. Mark McCarthy says, "Greetings, Throp family. Just got in on the hustle and bustle rat race. New York, bless up. Good to see you, Mark." Callison says, moved to the United States at age 20. Great decision. Had opportunities I never had in Jamaica. Regrets, yes. Should have returned years ago with an MBA, 25 years at NBC. I would have to achieve more in Jamaica. Recreative says, I remember someone in the comments of the video saying he bashes the country, but still comes back to buy a property. And now I don't know how I feel about the video. Very sensitive topic. It is. I mean, and again, it depends on how you look at it. So I also good observation, Brees, but I also look at it as we're living in a very globalized world, and you have perhaps a vested interest in Jamaica from via descent, parents, grandparents, or maybe you were born here and you're living abroad in the US. Like, use that to your advantage. Use that to your advantage. Use that to your advantage in the sense of, and that's maybe if you want to invest here, or maybe if you want to live here. I had what's her name? Jin and Jay on the podcast, another YouTuber. She moved from Canada, young lady, early 30s, at the time has a 5-year-old son, and moved him down here alongside her. And she uses her Canadianness, and I'm not sure if she was born in Jamaica, but she's Jamaican. But she uses her Canadian connection to her advantages of living here. And so she bought her house in Canada. So she rents that out Airbnb. She bought 2 vehicles and rents them out on Turo, which is a car renting company. So you, as a private car owner, can rent your car out for an hourly cost or per day if you want. And then she also is a hairstylist. And so in terms of earning an income and living here in Jamaica, she's earning her Canadian dollars with her Canadian businesses. And then she's living here in Jamaica with the cost of living is far cheaper. And then also living the lifestyle that she wants to live here in Jamaica. And so my point in saying that off of your comment, Bree, is that if you have an established connection there in Canada or America, use it to your advantage. If you want to say, if your goal is to live here, if your goal is to live in Jamaica, is like definitely use whatever advantages that you have and use the system to your advantage, the American system to your advantage, use the Canadian system to your advantage. Maybe you have access to capital that would allow you to invest in Jamaica. I don't know, but don't be like, I'm making a suggestion here, which is like, don't be so closed off to only think about investing in Canada or in America or wherever it is that you currently find yourself. Grantall says, visited Aruba. It was nice, but lacked the depth like Jamaica. No place better than Yacht. Agreed. Cleob says, nothing for free in Canada. Someone has to pay for it. Donna Bryce says, Excuse me. Donna Rice says, I agree, Throp. I have a much greater appreciation of Jamaica's natural beauty since leaving. Took it for granted. Inga Baby says, all these so called first world countries thrive on having foreigners come and work to make the elites of these countries wealthy, make your money, and go back home. Preach. Steve Stevens says, if you unpack what the man was saying in the video, you can see is full of it. If you think so, I mean, it depends on how you take the message. It seems to me that he's making his money and he's investing it in his home country. But yeah, it depends on how you look at it. Simone B says, when you're poor in Jamaica, there is no opportunities. If you're doing well in Jamaica, don't try to move to foreign. I understand when poor people move. So I will also say, I was talking to my dad about this and also Mr. Grizzle about this. So I've had many a conversation with this exact thing. The camera's still out. This exact thing that I realized, I think the battery died. That's what it is. Anyway, I was having a conversation with many of these conversations with my dad and having the same exact conversation with Mr. Grizzle, and that there is nothing wrong with Jamaicans moving abroad. Nothing. I think it's so important. I think it's important for Jamaicans to travel. I think to get experience, just to get travel experience, just to get cultural experience, and especially if you're going for education and professional aspects, like it has to happen. Like we're an island nation. Do we think that we have everything that we possibly need to have a thriving, flourishing, prosperous society for generations to come? No, we have a lot to learn, and there's a lot of opportunities out there. And so absolutely, I think it's so important that Jamaicans get out of Jamaica and have different experiences. But I also think it's very important that a lot of that experience comes back at some point in time. Maybe that experience comes back after a young Jamaican gets their 4 years degree and move back to Jamaica. Maybe it happens when that young Jamaican goes abroad, get their 4 years degree, starts climbing the corporate ladder for 20 or 30 years, and then they come back to Jamaica. And like that's what I mean. Like I think there is, as we talk and listen and hear about the brain drain that's happening in Jamaica, which is very real and it is happening for sure. We still, and I think perhaps, Simone, this is what you're alluding to, is that poor people moving abroad for opportunity, and they should be. If you feel that there isn't enough opportunity for you to live the life that you like to live and be prosperous here in Jamaica, and you think you can have that opportunity abroad, sure. But it's also, I think it's important to weigh the options. And I've also heard a lot of horror stories as well about people moving abroad and it not being what they expected it to be, and year 2 years they're right back here. So everybody's experience is different, but in general, I encourage and I support, especially young Jamaicans, to go abroad, to seek those opportunities, to learn, to grow as a person, to grow professionally, and come back to your country and help build it. Come back to your country, put yourself in a position and invest in it. And so, long story short, I support what you're saying, Simone. I support what you're saying in a big way. Leon says, Throp, most honorable prophet Bob Marley said, the day you stop racing is the day you win the race. In his song Rat Race, of his experience while working on Plymouth Auto Assembly Line in the US. Yeah. I know what you mean. I think it's just important to be aware of like your position, right? And these companies don't care about you. I mean, that's the honest truth. Like, it's America. Like, America is the capitalist country of the world, and it is all about the bottom dollar at the end of the day. And it's important for you to realize and recognize that for sure. MDS says, I find that a lot of Black people living in Canada have buried their heads in the sand, pretending that racism does not exist. Racism is just pervasive as in the U.S., but the white people. Okay, like I said, I don't know much about that, about Canadian history and racism, only from what I hear from my Canadian counterparts. Tisha Amoy says, I feel like it's good to live abroad and experience it for yourself, so you know exactly what paradise you have back home. I don't think most persons who've traveled appreciate what they have. Great point, Tisha. Steven says you can have a great life pretty much anywhere if you have resources. Eh, I think there's we won't get into it. Like there's two sides to that coin. I'll say that. Inga Baby says living in a foreign land is a mixed blessing. Tisha says, oh, Throp, off topic. I was in Brooklyn the other day and saw your street the other day. I remember someone else mentioning it before. Yeah, Winthrop Street does exist in Brooklyn. That's cool. Thanks for thinking of me. MDL says the racists in Canada are more polite than in America. I have experienced it living there for almost 40 years. My husband has experienced it, and many, many Black people that I know of. That's what I think of Canada, like polite people, but I guess they're polite racists too. MDL also says many young Black teenagers have been killed in Canada because of the color of their skin. Oh, that's real unfortunate. I thought that was more just a U.S. thing, but sorry to hear that it's happening in Canada as well. Clary T says, Throp, I'm an attractive African-American single woman at 58 with a very distinct look. I'm finding it difficult to make honest friendships here. It's making me feel away. Is this a norm specific to Negril? I've heard Jamaican people in the country aren't opportunistic like in Negril, where the hustle is 24/7. I was also having this very same conversation recently too. I will say, and I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Clarity. How do I answer this and keep it a buck at the same time? So I'll say Negril is built around tourism, and then also with tourism in Jamaica, at least, there comes a lot of hustling. So when I say hustling, you got hustling on the beach, people trying to sell you a bracelet, trying to sell you fruits, trying to put food on their table. And then there is perhaps the hustling that you are alluding to, Clarity, in relation to friendships here. And I've experienced the very same thing. I know what you're talking about, of just, is this person trying to be my friend to be my friend? Or is this person trying to be my friend to get something out of it at a later date? And that's for sure something that you need to be aware of here. And that's also why I said earlier about it's important to understand the company that you keep. And I will say that I do have that level of skepticism at least when I was here, or when I first moved here to Jamaica, moved to Negril, is that like I didn't understand that first, that like, because back home I thought people wanted to be my friend, whereas here there's a strong possibility that they're trying to position themselves to maybe ask you for money later, or maybe to have a relationship with you that is more of has a monetary transaction as part of that relationship. So I would say that it's probably more prominent, and of course I'm generalizing here, it's probably more prominent here in Negril than I would say in Kingston, right? So I look at myself as a young person, 39 years old. If I'm going out to socialize in Kingston and meet new people, there is more likely of a chance that I'm going to meet very career-oriented people who have 4-year degrees. They may work at a bank. They may work for a startup. They may be a digital designer. They may have their own business. All sorts of normal careers, if you will. And Negril, and again, is very much revolved around tourism and tourists. And so perhaps the people that you're meeting here are just in that hustle lifestyle. And it's not, I'm not saying they're bad people, not at all. I'm not saying that they're bad people, but like that's just how they move. This is like how they make their money. And it's just something to be aware of. It's something to be aware of. But I know exactly what you mean, Clarity. And that's just, and then I will say, like, that's guys and girls. And I've had that in the meeting from the meeting friends perspective, and I've had that also on the dating perspective as well. And that just kind of can be part of the Negril experience. So that was off topic a little bit, but I hope that answers your question. Oh, and I see the last two parts of your comments here. Clarity says, I'm a chill person, but I was raised in the US projects and I know hustlers when I see them. They are everywhere. Here it seems. Okay, I didn't even see that, but I knew what you're talking about. The hustlers won't run me out of here. Yeah, it's just something to be aware of and just kind of just know that it's happening, right? Just know that it's happening, and then you just position yourself, and then you'll meet people who are more perhaps fit into your circle easier and better, and you'll quickly develop like this sixth sense, and then you'll have your circle of people, you have your circle of friends that you know that they don't want anything from you. They're just looking to be your friend for, companionship. They're looking for good conversation. They're looking to talk politics. They're looking to talk investing, whatever have you, things that you are interested in. And it's just purely about each other's company. But you'll go through that and you'll figure out who those friends are. And maybe it's a group of expats. Maybe it's a combination of expats and locals. Who knows? JFit says, starting to conclude that the U.S. has become the ghetto of the West. Like many races, open businesses in the hood, but they don't live there. Make money in the States, but make plans to leave. I like that. Bree Creative says, Negril is known as a laid-back part of the island. It's known for easygoing and relaxing. That's right. Steve Stevens says, if you want to know about real racism in Canada, ask the native indigenous people. L. McIntyre says racism in Canada is mostly institutional. Miss Baby Cam says, I've lived in Canada for over 30 years and working in a company for 22 years. Was okay with what I was making until recently. Now I have 2 jobs. What the man said is true. All you do is work. Wow. Wildfire FX says, I live in Texas, but work up in Canada. Toronto is lit, and I got to travel Montreal for the first time last weekend. Canada is a nice place. MDL, I really didn't realize that my country, JA, was such a beautiful place until I traveled and lived both in Canada and the United States for almost 40 years. We have the most sincere and caring people. Mark McCarthy, off topic. A little hope you guys get the chance to watch the live Jamaica Housing and Building Town Hall meeting from the Prime Minister office at 7 o'clock JA time. Oh, thank you for that, Mark. Appreciate that. 7 o'clock tonight. So that's about an hour from now. Man, almost 2 hours right now. Did not expect this. Shayna Love Coaching says, I think that stems from survival mindset. I believe Shayna is referring to the hustlers here in Negril. Grant Old 3 says, I always tell people to make friends with people you aspire to be like on a higher level. I think that's good advice. Callison's agree throughout, but 20 years before returning after getting that degree and corporate experience is too long. Like I said, spent 25 years in news and broadcasting in the United States. Last 10 years should have been in Jamaica. Yeah, the sooner the better, especially now. Romeo Walker says, I've been living in Canada for the past 9 years, and every day my wife and I are missing home. We also run an Airbnb in Jamaica, and we hope that in the near future we can go back home. Awesome. Congrats to you guys on that, and I hope that happens for you soon. Throp R.E. Clary T. It's all about how she socializes. You and I may socialize within business community, events, etc. Maybe she needs to integrate herself in through a couple business associates and events. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Do some networking events. Maybe come to ThropX. I'm going to have a lot of tons of local businesses and business owners, young, experienced, mature, like all different types of businesses as well. So yeah, would love to have you on, Clary T. Alfonso West says, Throp, what's up? Where's the best place to retire? That's not even a question. Jamaica, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. Romeo Walker says right now, my truck in the USA listed. Maybe that's what you're trying to say. All right, we're going to play this this trailer real quick one more time, and then we'll come back and we will close out.
Hey.
There's been so much interest in the economic boom that's been happening in Jamaica, both on the investment side and also as a place to move to. Let me tell you about a conference that might help you with this stuff. ThropX is a 5-day Jamaica investment conference that takes place from November 13th to November 17th at the beautiful Travelers Beach Resort in Negril, Jamaica. This includes 2 full days of expert panel presentations on all aspects of moving to and investing in Jamaica. This includes the brightest minds in the Jamaican real estate market, certified financial advisors from the most prestigious financial groups in Jamaica, banking professionals from the most esteemed banking institutions in Jamaica, among others. If you are thinking about moving to Jamaica, this conference is the perfect opportunity to have direct access to not only individuals who have achieved your dream of moving to Jamaica, but you'll also be among like-minded conference goers who are also trying to move to Jamaica. In addition, there will be 1 full day dedicated to touring both residential and commercial real estate for sale in the greater Negril area to give you a tangible idea of the real estate landscape in Jamaica. There will be exclusive properties for sale on this tour that you will not find listed anywhere else. If you are even remotely considering moving to or investing in Jamaica, this is the conference for you. This is the best way to dip your toe in the water of figuring out whether Jamaica is the right place for you to invest and to live. For more information, please visit thropx.com and join our mailing list. I look forward to seeing you in November. All right, got the camera up and running. Justin, you've been a channel member for 16 months. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, and please hit the like button, everybody. It definitely helps out a ton. All right, let's get these last few comments in, and we'll start closing out here. Kick Rock says, meeting like-minded people comes easy. Clara T says, I'll be here for ThropX. Awesome. Looking forward to having you. Steve Stevens says, Throp, your perspective living in JA, do you think the island is ready infrastructure-wise to handle an influx in population the way the housing is booming down there? Short answer is no. But it's not, I will say, it's not like there's gonna be like the floodgates or waterfall of people are coming tomorrow. Where in terms of living, where I would be concerned with is like the Princess Hotel that we always talk about on this channel is in Green Island, and it's the largest hotel in Jamaica, 2,000 rooms or whatever it is, and that is like an immediate, like from one day to the next, you're gonna have 2,000 more people on the infrastructure that's pulling from the existing infrastructure in Jamaica and in the West here. And what are those infrastructural concerns that I have is the water, tertiary sewage system, and for sure what we're going to feel almost immediately day one is the roads. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel it from the perspective of traffic. And being the main thing, it can take I can already see we're gonna have to start leaving from Negril for the airport. Like, I don't know, I'm guesstimating here. We're gonna need to leave earlier because it's just there's just more cars on the road going to that one hotel. We may need to go the other way instead, and the other way being South Coast to Negril, from Negril to Montego Bay. So those are the concerns that I have. Now, that's just a hotel. Now, when we talk about housing and it's the same thing. There's going to be more people living here than ever before because we need also people to live close by to support that 2,000 room hotel. And there are also more businesses coming into Negril. And there's a lot of there's still I think along the beach road, right? There are still on both sides. One on the beach side, there are l- a few lots and hotels that are for sale. And so imagine like all those hotels, first the hotels that they are acquired and then investment is made and those rooms are built up and then they have I'm assuming if you have the money to buy land and build a hotel, you also have the money to market and put heads to beds, as a minister likes to say, and bring in more people into the country and more people into Negril. That's more people again pulling down on the infrastructural resources that we have that aren't. I wouldn't say that they're in dire straits. I wouldn't say that at all, but they are not. They weren't built to sustain the eventual influx of people that we're going to be having here on not just for stints, say for the winter season, but imagine the population increases another 25 to 30%. And I'm talking about the population who stays here year round. We need to do something about that. So that's a big part of the conversation that I had with Mr. Grizzle earlier this year. And this is something that we've already, as a community, we're starting to push from now because we see it coming down, and it's just like the ship is coming. Like it's not like it's coming. There's nothing that you can do to stop it. What you can do is just prepare for it, and we know what's going to happen, and we don't want to turn it into this situation where, especially from the sewage perspective, like we just don't have the infrastructure to handle that. I mean, that could be devastating, and that's something that could severely jeopardize the forward momentum of what is everything that's happening here. Severely. Good question. Donna Bryce says, please, everyone, remember to hit the like button. Would appreciate it. Leon Newton says, Throp, 2 solid hours. We've been doing great on time lately with these lives. Great show, super informative as usual. Tomorrow is September. It's officially Throp X 2023 countdown. Bless, love. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Leon. Always appreciate your support. Clarity Media says, I was a traffic reporter in the U.S. for CBS and iHeartMedia. Do you think there's a place for me either in TV, radio, or the Jamaican Department of Transportation? I am not in a position to answer that question. I just don't know too much about traditional media to begin with, let alone that of Jamaica. I really don't understand how that works and the politics of that industry, and every industry has its own politics, right? So I am unfamiliar. I wish I could be a better resource. Clarity says, I can see how traffic reporting will help, although it will require better roads, the loop sensors and cameras. Callison says, Newton not on camera, financial planning and analysis and post-production with an MBA and years of experience, I would have been much more appreciated and valued in Jamaica. Alfonso Worth says, I'm actually at the Harmony Beach Park in Montego Bay right now at a town hall meeting on housing development with the Prime Minister. Oh, that's what Mark McCarthy was probably alluding to. Alfonso, please keep us posted on what happens. You always hit me up and give me a lot of inside information on that, on what's going on. I'm going to try and catch it at 7:00 and hear what he has to say. Hear what the Prime Minister has to say. Leon Newton says, Throp, by the way, imagine January morning 2030 for the unenlightened JA property appreciates 53%. Jamaicans buy land at that time. Trust. No, too expensive. They will officially be priced out of their homelands. That could be the reality for many. And I hope so. I hope people, and as I kind of beat this into people's heads, and it's not beating it into people's heads in the perspective of just from the standpoint of doing it to do so. It's more so with the hope of bringing understanding, and or maybe even, I wouldn't even say understanding, just maybe just planting a seed in people's minds that, hey, maybe I should look into this. and that's all I can hope to accomplish here, and I'm not selling you anything. I'm selling you my conference, which I'm not asking for a donation. You're getting maximum value when you go to this conference. So it's just something that I want to see. I want to see more of us owning our own land and controlling our future and controlling the direction of the country, because those are the people who are going to control the direction of the country, is those with a vested interest, and if it's other people from other cultures that, again, I encourage to come and be a part of this as well. If you're not Jamaican, I'm not saying not to come. We need you just the same, but at the same time, it's just like, why wouldn't I want more Jamaicans to own land here, more Jamaicans to be business owners here? Because I truly believe Jamaica is on a very prosperous trajectory, and I would want to have those people and Jamaicans who were born here and have lineage here to be also part of the process of making decisions on the direction that the country is heading in, because those are the people who are going to make those decisions. Those are the people who are going to put the people in power. Politics, that is, people in power to make decisions for our country. So these are the things that I think about, and this is like really what motivates me more than anything else to put out the content, to do these live streams that I do here. Susan says, Throp, thank you for continually sharing updates and the progress that is being made in the grill. Justin D says, Jamaica Information Services is the name of the channel if anyone is looking. Prime Minister's address in about it's out of the Bay Area, California, where I was born and raised. Displacement and gentrification is real. That's why I'm here. Jay Fitz says, sounds like a tsunami of people/businesses is about to hit Negril. Officials need to be proactive or it can get ugly quickly. Yeah, there's no doubt. I can see that from a mile away. All right, we're going to wrap up here. This was a great one. I didn't think we were going to go 2 hours here. I was expecting an hour because I got so much things to do. I don't even know if it was worth me getting started tonight. But anyway, I gotta do some work tonight. That I'm gonna get started on. A lot of it has to do for preparation for ThropX, and we're gonna keep it moving here. We got a video dropping on Saturday. I don't know which one it is. I thought I would have that answer for you today on this live stream that I promised on Sunday, but nonetheless, a video will be coming out on Saturday. We'll be back here on the live stream on Sunday. Thank you all for joining me for this Thursday live stream. I will see you on Saturday at the premiere, and I will see you on Sunday on the live stream. Everybody have a great evening. Peace.